What is up, guys? Wraith here, Great Bearded Gaming. So, as you're going to see in the little travel montage I'm going to drop after my opening, we are all the way out at Lake Rathetear. Now, there are a couple different ways to get here. I probably chose the worst possible one, which you'll see coming up here in just a second. But we've made our way all the way down here. We are just right here, right outside the arena. And what we are after is Aviac guards. Now, I've cleared the first two. The two guards that spawn high up in these towers, and there's like little lesser kind of Aviacs down here that we're just not going to waste our time with, and they didn't aggro anyway, so we're going to leave them alone. But there's one on each side. We're going to get out here. We just broke it up. We're going to see what our spawn time looks like, kind of report back from there. So take a look at my kind of semi-ridiculous travel video. Again, I'm sure somebody's going to have something to say about the easier ways I could have used to get out here. But we'll see you guys back here in just a minute. Alright guys, as you can see from our nice little video there, we actually got some buffs to travel to get out here. That it took us so long to get out here, we started losing some of the buffs before we even got here. Now, the interesting thing about this particular camp, it's a very old school camp. You're quiet, you're out of the way like a lot of the kind of Necro camps are. Generally because, again, I mean, you travel well, you have some safety buttons, but these guys are coming in and keeping. We have already also leveled. We are level 21. Like I said, these guys are kind of in at a resistant to fear. Kind of in at a nice dark blue. Of course, he should start running off here in a second without me even worrying about it. So we get about 2% experience per kill. They drop a little bit of gold here, a little bit of gold there. But these guys can drop bronze. There's one on either side of the opening. The one on this side can be a little annoying to see from right here without having to go out and bring it back. But there he is. Like I said, he can be kind of tricky, so occasionally you have to kind of pop out, target an arm, and bring it back. On this kind of server, they respawn pretty quick. Like I said, thankfully you can pull him kind of through this wall, which is great. And we pull him back into the arena zone entrance area. There's plenty of kind of room to fight in. We're going to leave that little chick alone. She doesn't want to mess with us, and we don't want to mess with her. But you pull the 2 guards back in here. You fight them here. And the reason we do that, if anybody remembers Lake Rathetear, there's tons of stuff that can cruise around randomly in the water. One of them is basically a spoof of freaking Kermit the Frog, Prince Kermit. And at our size, if he gets a hold of us, that's all she wrote. He will tear us apart. I believe he's pretty close to level 30, so he'll have us by about 9 levels. But I said with these guys here, it's a pretty easy, decently safe fear kite. If anything goes wrong, we can just zone right into the arena and then zone back out. Again, we're getting, about 2% and some change experience to kill, decent amount of gold. And while they don't drop every single time, these guys can drop some bronze, which can add up. One of the other advantages to this particular camp is I doubt you're going to have a lot of competition out here, unless maybe you're on a brand new server, maybe on a 99-ish type server. There'll be somebody out here, Necro-wise, just out here to get some farm on and kind of be left alone. But the other cool thing is if you are a Necro and you're not popular, there is an ogre camp on the other side, right on the edge of the Wrath Mountains, and we should be able to sell there. So instead of leaving entirely after taking forever to get here, we should be able to just go across there and sell if we get too heavy. And at the same time, use some of the old school tricks to where... Well, I was actually about to make a comment, and this only applies if you're on a very classic server, mostly the P99, so I'm not even sure this applies on a straight classic. I honestly don't remember when Agnar first launched. I think they'd left the weight out of coin entirely. One of the things you can do when you're working with chunks of bronze and you're out on your own, sell a bunch of stuff, buy one back to reduce all the lower account coins that can carry over, and then sell it back. So you lose a hair in the transaction, but you also shore up your weight a little bit by getting rid of that kind of stuff. On the Agnar servers, you don't have to worry about that because coin, of course, has no weight on these guys. But again, it's another one of those kind of out-of-the-way camps, a relatively easy fear kite. Make sure you're careful with if you got a tab target button, because you do not want to mess with her. She will wreck you. So let's not even target her. And again, it's one of those, it is a far out-of-the-way camp. It really is. The ambiance is the nice waves, which probably just makes you want to use the restroom more often, to be honest with you. But there's 2 guys. They're relatively static. They're pretty decent experience. They can drop bronze. It's another of those kind of quiet, sit down, something else on the other screen. You'll be able to sit back down to full mana. You can see I'm not really having any mana issues keeping these guys under control. Just me and my allure of death out here. But again, another very classic, camp that you can run to, Necro-wise. I'm sure that there are other classes who could pull it off. You could probably just as easily root rot one, maybe kind of mage tank one, things like that. We'll see. Again, it's one of those classic, more Necro than I think of it, because you can fear kind of easy. You don't have to deal with them. I haven't even really tried to let the pet straight up tank one. I'm sure he will probably do okay, because these guys aren't very big. Spawning in at the high teens. As you saw in the video, we crossed through a bunch of territory of things that we will most likely come back to in a separate video. The knoll spires outside of Paw, that is a really good area if you can find a good sweet spot and just pull the knolls and fear kite them off. But of course, they are all still red to us as they have us by 4 and 5 levels. Most of those guys are mid-20s and up. And then of course the Aviac Fort right over the zone line back into Southern Karana. And of course the problem with there is you have a crazy level spread over there. So a few of the really low-end guys we could handle right now. The problem is the larger guys are just going to absolutely wreck us. So here we go. We got us another guard. Like I said, they're pretty consistently spawning in the high teens. Dark blue, decent experience. You get the snare, you pull one back. We didn't even really have to work to split the camp the first time. This is a camp that I read about and not one that I really did on my own back in the day. It's, again, lots of different classes could kind of do it. It was so far out of the way that I would generally honestly just kind of group at the Aviac Fort. And this was never even my favorite zone. I never liked the zones that were kind of covered up with water like this. If your lev wore out and you got to try to swim it, that kind of stinks. But Another pretty decent spot if you just want to sit down and grind out, get a little bit of cash here, a little bit of cash there. Again, getting, okay experience per kill at a nice quiet rate. Like so many other camps, it has its pluses, it has its minuses. Do the pluses outweigh the minuses? It's really kind of up to you. Again, it would be super useful if you could kill these other guys and spawn bigger aviacs, but I don't believe you can. But what we'll do is I'll go ahead and wreck one of these clowns, and we will find out. But I think they always spawn aviacs. I don't believe these guys ever spawn guards. But we'll, excuse me, we'll give this guy kind of a hard time here, and we'll check it out, and we'll kind of report back. But there we go. I said another very classic camp in this level range. Take it for what you will. I'm pretty sure there are faster ways to get here now that I think about it, because I believe for some races you can actually shoot through the troll type area on the other side, jump through Wrath and pop out on the other side. Maybe, thin off some travel time. But having said all of that, we have another check mark on another classic camp. Thank you guys for following along with me. Hope you had a good time. Again, if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to leave maybe a like, maybe a comment, maybe even a subscribe, and we'll kind of keep doing it. And again, if you guys have other content or another spot you can think of, while yes, by the time the stuff is released, we're slightly ahead of it, we can still check out some things. The level ranges in this game are pretty wide, so if you think of another adventure for us, by all means, let us know in the comment sections down below. And until then, we will see you guys next time.